I'm pregnant with your husband's child. So you, an old hag, should get a divorce and leave," she said triumphantly. Got it. There was no hesitation anymore. Here, the divorce papers. Give them to your husband. I'm only taking our youngest son. Harper took the divorce papers and stood there in shock for a while, then quickly scowled. Hey! Take all of them with you. No way. Because those kids. My name is Kinsley, a 35-year-old housewife. My husband, Michael, works as a surgeon. He used to be just a regular doctor at a small hospital in Nebraska, but with continuous effort, he's now a well-known specialist. Despite that, our relationship has never been good. We had an arranged marriage set up by our parents before we got to know each other well. Not knowing how to oppose our parents, I married him without hesitation, only to regret it soon after. Michael is certainly hardworking, but he was also notorious for being a womanizer before our marriage. Do you know who you owe your status as the wife of a famous doctor to? He often asks me this. One day, while I was helping our son with his homework, I answered, "It's thanks to your hard work." Exactly. I gave the same response as always, and he smiled with satisfaction. Then he sneered and said, "You got lucky. You met me by chance, and our parents liked each other. That's the only reason you're in this position now." So, you're ready to let another woman take this seat, huh? I replied, smiling cheerfully. Yes, you got it. Then why bother asking me that? To make you understand. Your easy life is all thanks to me. Yeah, I replied. I was already tired of talking to him. Michael always looks down on me. Maybe he regrets marrying a plain-faced, unremarkable woman. But I regret it too. People call me the wife of a renowned doctor, but in reality, I'm just a housewife. I get up on time, do housework, and take care of our 3 kids. I've continued this routine for years. And I feel like this marriage was a mistake. We should have gotten to know each other better before the arranged marriage. If we had, I might have seen his true nature. If my husband had talked to me more, he might not have chosen me as his wife. But we didn't do that. We accepted the marriage arranged by our parents without interest. That night, Michael came home. I'm exhausted today. I had a tough surgery. It seemed he had performed a complicated operation. When I asked what kind of surgery it was, Michael replied, "It's been a series of difficult cases, and it's hard to explain." I simply sympathized with him, saying, "It must have been tough." At that moment, our sons burst into the room energetically. Dad, guess what? I got a perfect score on today's test. Henry reported with a beaming smile. Michael smiled slightly and said, "A perfect score, huh? That's good. But remember, you need to keep working hard for it to mean anything." I praised Henry. Well done. Let's get you some treats to celebrate, I suggested. Yay! Henry cheered. The conversation between my husband and me continued. You're spoiling the kids too much. You need to be stricter. Kids need to have fun times too. You might not get it because you're always working, but supporting this family is also a job. You should face reality a bit more. I am facing reality by giving our kids love. I wish you could understand that. When I said that, Michael fell silent. There has been a gap between us for years. Michael takes pride in his achievements but often overlooks how much the family supports him behind the scenes. I feel this deeply. The next morning, before Michael left for work, I spoke to him. Do you know what time you'll be home today? It depends on the surgeries. Try not to be too late. The kids are waiting for you. I'll come home as early as I can. Hearing the door close, I sighed deeply. I was exhausted from these daily exchanges. In the midst of this cold atmosphere, one day, Henry, who was doing his homework, spoke up. Mom, I finished my homework. Oh, that was quick. Well done. You can have a snack as a reward. Yay! As Henry jumped up from his chair with a cheer and was about to leave the room, my husband called out to him. Henry, you were supposed to work on the drills we agreed on, remember? But. No buts. Are you the kind of person who breaks promises? When Henry hesitated, I intervened. Henry is still young, so don't be too hard on him. What? Henry is my successor. He needs to surpass me. Michael crossed his arms and firmly tried to keep Henry in the room. I sighed and made a suggestion. How about he studies here while having a snack? I'll stay with him and you can get back to work. Michael seemed to accept that. Spoiling him again. Whatever. But as he left, he added a casual jab. By the way, I heard you got a 90 on your last test. Pathetic. When I was your age, getting a perfect score was the norm. If you study properly, a perfect score is easy. Henry's shoulders drooped. I studied really hard. Not hard enough. You're not as smart as your mom, so you need to work even harder. Michael said this harshly. I couldn't hold back my anger and confronted him. You can belittle me all you want, but don't dismiss Henry's efforts. If there are no results, it means there wasn't enough effort. Or maybe your teaching is bad. Are you too dumb to teach a grade schooler? Michael sneered and provocatively said. What did you just say? My voice grew sharp, but Michael didn't care. Can't you even properly raise your own child? Maybe I should have 2 households. It's not Mom's fault. Henry defended me, his voice trembling. It's my fault. I'll study harder, so don't say bad things about Mom. Poor you, Henry, having a mother like that. Despite Henry's tears, Michael left for work without mercy. I hugged Henry. He cried softly in my arms. Maybe it's time to end this life. And then, Michael began openly parading around with his new lover. At a social party, he appeared with her. This lover, Harper, was young and beautiful, wearing a dress Michael had given her. Though it wasn't confirmed, it was almost certain she was his new mistress. She's here to help around the house, to lessen your burden. This is Harper Smith. Nice to meet you. And I'm Kinsley, his wife. Harper looked confident. But she didn't mention her job or position. She aspires to be a model and currently isn't employed. Where did my husband find such a woman? I'm very grateful to your husband, Harper said, to which I replied, I'm sure you are. Michael is cold to his family but devotes himself excessively to his mistress. It's clear Harper is receiving his support. I could see the ambition in her eyes, aiming to replace me as his wife someday. But I remained calm. I'm used to Michael's affairs by now. I've been betrayed so many times. No matter what Harper does, I won't be shaken. However, sometimes Harper's actions exceeded my expectations. One day, she came to our house as if it were the most natural thing. Hello, I'll be making Western food today, just the way your husband likes. Harper said brightly, standing in the kitchen with perfect makeup, wearing a cute apron, and started cooking efficiently. Besides cooking, she also took the initiative in cleaning and doing laundry. Is there anything you don't like to eat? Nothing in particular. That's good. It makes cooking easier. Harper smiled as she said this, and I felt something was off about her behavior. She was clearly different from the previous mistresses. She didn't hide her rivalry with me, but skillfully masked her feelings. She visited every day at the same time, finishing the housework in my place, and then left satisfied. She even talked to me in a friendly manner, saying, "Let's get along as women." I could only nod, overwhelmed by her enthusiasm. She acted like my friend, entertaining me. When I was tired, she would say, "You must be exhausted," and make me chamomile tea. Her kindness softened my heart. I even found myself giving her small gifts when she left. Harper smiled and said, "Thank you. You're really kind, Kinsley," expressing her gratitude repeatedly. She had put away her previous provocative attitude and showed a submissive side. While I liked Harper, I was also puzzled by the change. Despite clearly aiming for my husband, why was she being so friendly? I couldn't understand it. One day, Harper confided in me secretly. "Kinsley, you need to hear this. Michael was bad-mouthing you. He asked me to keep it a secret, but I couldn't stay silent." "Oh, it's the usual," I shrugged. "He always criticizes me and our son." "No way. You're not a bad person, Kinsley." Harper frowned and tried to comfort me. "Michael is too harsh on you. You work so hard taking care of the kids, and he doesn't even recognize that." After venting her frustrations about Michael, Harper gave me a troubled smile. "Please keep this between us." "Of course, I understand," I replied with a bitter smile. If it got out that Harper, his mistress, was speaking negatively about him, she could be in trouble. Despite this, why was Harper siding with me? That mystery remained unsolved. Why would Harper take such a risk to be on my side? The answer came from Henry. "Mom, don't be fooled by her." "You mean Harper?" "Yeah." Henry nodded. His face was pale with fear. "She's bad-mouthing you to Dad and my brothers too. Now she's telling you bad things about Dad." I was deeply shocked. So, Harper wasn't really on my side. I should have known, but hearing it from Henry directly made me feel betrayed. "Are you sure there's no mistake? Is Harper really doing that?" "Yes, I saw it." Henry grabbed my hand, trembling. "Don't be fooled. She's your enemy." I couldn't hide my agitation for a while after hearing Henry's words. Since then, I found it hard to smile at Harper as I used to. No matter how considerate she seemed, my mind was elsewhere. "Kinsley." One day, Harper looked at me with concern. "Are you okay? Are you feeling unwell?" "No, it's not that." I shook my head hastily. My mind was filled with inner conflict. Should I confront Harper with the truth, or continue our relationship as it is? After much deliberation, I spoke up. "My son told me. He said you badmouth my husband in front of me and badmouth me in front of him." Harper's expression twisted. For a moment, her eyes widened in shock, then she returned to her usual smile. "So, I've been found out. What are you thinking? Isn't it obvious?" Harper no longer wore her friendly smile. Her tone was dismissive. "I just wanted to drive a wedge between you and your husband. But maybe that's no longer necessary." Harper smirked, her smile resembling that of a devil. "I'm pregnant with your husband's child. So you, an old hag, should get a divorce and leave." She said this triumphantly. Then, staring straight at me, she showed me a photo. "This is my son." "When did you have a child?" I sighed. So this was Harper's true nature. I had unintentionally let my guard down around her. I had confided my frustrations about my husband to Harper, and she had used all of it against me. "When he starts his own practice, this child will be his successor. He's not interested in your children." "Is that so?" I replied as if it were someone else's problem. There was nothing I could do in this situation. "So, what's your plan?" When I asked, Harper responded dreamily. "Do I even need to say it? I'm going to kick you out and become the wife of a renowned doctor." Her intentions were clear. I hadn't realized how painful it would be to face this truth. My heart ached, and I forced a bitter smile. "I understand." There was no more hesitation. "Here, these are the divorce papers. Give them to my husband. I'm taking only our youngest son." I took the divorce papers out of the drawer and handed them to Harper. In fact, I had been considering divorce for a long time. So, this might be the perfect timing. Harper took the divorce papers and stood there in shock for a moment before scowling. "Hey! Take all of them with you." "No way. Those kids aren't biologically mine, so I have no obligation to take them." "What? What do you mean?" "I've raised them as my own, but if I'm getting a divorce, that changes." "Wait, didn't you know?" If you're going to be the new wife, you should know. Hold on, what do you mean? Are Henry and the others really not your children? Yes, that's right. The older kids are all from his previous marriage. I was told she died in an accident before we got married, but talking to the kids, I found out she left because of his infidelity. Michael wanted to save face, so he made it seem like she passed away. I should have done more digging before the arranged marriage, but our parents handled everything. I found out after we got married. You might be his favorite mistress now, but soon you'll be number 2, then number 3. No way! To a man like him, women are just all same. I realized that after we got married. I had Henry, so I thought he needed a father, and his income was helpful. That's why I couldn't bring myself to divorce him. Plus, the older kids grew attached to me. That can't be true! I already badmouthed you to the kids! Did you think you could fool them? Sadly, their father is a smart doctor, and the kids are just as smart. They can see who's sincere and who isn't. They're in high school and middle school, and they both supported my decision to divorce. They're sad to be separated from Henry, but they don't want to see me suffer anymore. They even plan to make life difficult for the new mom. What? The kids? Yes. They can't forgive Michael for driving their mother away. So, they plan to make him unhappy. If you become the new wife, they'll do everything they can to get rid of you. They acted all nice when you came as a housekeeper, so you thought they liked you, didn't you? But that's not how they really feel. That's a lie. You're just making things up because you're being dumped. Believe what you want. Just make sure to give him those divorce papers. I said, heading to my room to pack my things. What the hell? I heard Harper shouting, but I ignored her and left with Henry. We drove to pick up the older kids from school and went to a restaurant for dinner. Mom, you're really leaving. I'm sorry. This must be hard for you. No, we've been really happy these past 8 years. Yeah, who knows what would have happened without you? You guys. And we're glad to have Henry as our little brother. Will you still play with me, big brothers? Of course, we're family. We'll always be brothers, no matter what. If you need anything, you can always count on us. Okay. These kids are truly amazing. I'm proud of how well they've turned out despite their father. Maybe my love and care had something to do with it. After saying our goodbyes, Henry and I went back to my parents' house. They welcomed us warmly, saying, "It must have been tough. Kinsley, I'm sorry. I made you go through so much pain. I arranged your marriage because of my work situation without considering your feelings. I don't even know how to apologize." It's okay, Dad. Back then, you were desperate to save your business. I understand, having worked in the business world myself. And it wasn't all bad, I have Henry. Grandpa, Grandma. Hi. Henry, you've grown so much. You've gotten taller in no time. Come on in. We're having steak today. Yay! Steak. Henry, you can relax and have fun here. Awesome. My son was so happy spending time at my parents' house. Seeing him like that, I regretted not doing this sooner. But what mattered was that I had made a decision and acted on it. From now on, I would protect and raise Henry. While staying at my parents' house, I prepared to re-enter the workforce. During that time, I received the signed divorce papers from my husband. He probably wanted me to file them. I immediately signed my part and submitted them to the city office. Finally, I was officially divorced from him. Afterward, I demanded alimony from my ex-husband through a lawyer. Without any issues, my ex-husband paid the full amount. He also paid Henry's child support in full. Being a surgeon, he could easily afford it. I was grateful to have the money all at once. I decided to save it for Henry's future education. Soon after, I found a new job and started working while raising my child. Living with my parents, their help made things easier. With less burden, I could focus more on my work and steadily got promoted. Then, about 3 months after the divorce, I received a call from an unknown number. Since it kept ringing, I thought it might be someone I knew and answered it. It was Harper. "Hello? How have you been?" Harper's voice was cheerful and seemed quite happy. "What do you want?" "All the paperwork should be done." "Oh, don't be so cold, ex-wife. I called to share some news." "What is it?" "Michael finally opened his own clinic. He's now a practicing physician. I'm so proud of him." "Oh, really? Congratulations." You sound shaken." "Not really. He's so talented, and patients just keep coming." "Is that so?" "Since marrying me, his luck has improved. A young, pretty wife suits a practicing physician better. And you said all sorts of things, but the kids adore me." "It seems your words were just desperate lies." "That's not true. The kids definitely. Maybe they just couldn't stand being with you. They're smart, so fooling someone like you must have been easy." Harper laughed loudly. "Well, that's all I had to report. Goodbye." With that, she hung up. I couldn't stop laughing. It seemed the kids were sticking to the plan. The boys had said they would initially pretend to celebrate Harper and Michael's marriage and act as if they were very fond of Harper. They planned to do this only until Michael opened his practice. Harper's real troubles were just beginning. I went about my daily life eagerly awaiting that day. 3 months later, Harper called again. "Please, take the kids." "Oh, what's wrong? You're scaring me with that loud voice." "Just take the kids. I can't take it anymore." "Didn't you say they adored you?" "They suddenly started acting out and hurling insults at me. It's unbearable. The stress is killing me." Harper started crying. "Even if you say that, I'm not their biological mother, and we're no longer family. I can't take them." "Please. I can't live like this." "You seemed so happy before." "I was happy then. Now it's hell. The kids are telling everyone at school and in the neighborhood not to go to the clinic because Michael's a serial cheater. Patients are dropping off, and the business is failing." The kids are quite bold. But it shows how much they can't forgive Michael and you." "Don't joke around. I finally married a doctor, and he opened his practice. Why do I have to suffer? And they don't even care about my child." "Well, a child born from an affair isn't easy to accept as a sibling. But you knew that when you remarried, right? Or were you just looking at the rosy parts?" "Shut up. Don't lecture me, you old hag." Okay. Sorry. I'll hang up now and block your number. Goodbye forever." "Wait." I ignored her pleading and hung up the phone, then blocked her number. It seemed the kids' plan had succeeded. They were smarter than I had imagined, and both the eldest and second son had already arranged their living situation. They decided to stay with Michael's uncle and his wife. Their great-uncle. Because of frequent family gatherings, they were familiar with their great-uncle and had been well liked by him. Their great-uncle understood that Michael's father had a similar selfish personality. So he had told the boys to rely on him if they ever needed anything. The boys contacted their great-uncle, explained the situation, and secured a place to stay, ensuring Michael and Harper's downfall. Now, Michael's clinic was on the verge of closing, and he was deeply in debt. The boys declared they were cutting ties with Michael and Harper and moved to their great-uncle's house, where they continued their schooling. In the end, the only ones who suffered were Michael and Harper. Michael had been calling and emailing me, demanding the return of alimony and child support, or asking for loans, but I ignored all his requests. By now, they were probably struggling with debt and living in poverty. Michael's bad behavior quickly spread among the medical community, and no hospital was willing to hire him. I heard through the grapevine that he was working part-time jobs. Harper, disillusioned with Michael, tried to leave him but had nowhere to go since she had been disowned by her parents because of the affair and had a child to care for. Despite her dissatisfaction, she stayed with Michael. Their life was far from the rich one she had envisioned. But they brought this upon themselves. And I had no sympathy for them. Meanwhile, I was enjoying peaceful and happy days with Henry and my parents. I kept in regular contact with the older boys, and they visited my parents' house every month to play with Henry. We had fun times together, like barbecues, making me realize that family isn't just about blood relations. From now on, I'll cherish the people around me and continue to live a happy life.